Good day, Market Chameleons, and everyone joining us for the first time. Thanks for coming by and checking out the Market Chameleon after-hour shows with Ryan Mastro from OptionsRobot. Before we get started, let's take a look at the shared disclaimer. Please be aware that neither Market Chameleon, OptionsRobot, Ryan, or myself are registered investment advisors or broker-dealer. If you're searching for investment advice, please reach out to a licensed professional. This webinar, as all our webinars and shows, are for informational purposes only concerning the tools and products. With that, one last look at the disclaimer, and let's welcome Ryan Mastro to the stage. How you doing today, Ryan?
I'm doing well. How about yourself?
Good. Let me share your screen. There's the Market Chameleon landing page, and here we go.
So let's just jump into it. I mean, it was obviously the big news is all about Iran, right? It's us attacking and repercussions of that. Market didn't seem to mind today. Let's just kind of quickly go over the charts real quick, and we can look at like the Qs. We had a big gap down, but the market recovered very, very well. I mean, we actually ended up, I think, slightly positive on the day. So you look across the board at the other names, SPY, big ETF for the SPX, that finished pretty much the same. IWM, I think, was actually a little bit better. And you can see that it actually closed up on the day compared to maybe the diamonds, which again I think was maybe down a little bit, right? But at the end of the day, it was a nice win on the tech side of things, where tech was kind of down on Friday, but managed to rally back up. I will highlight this area in here, a lot of green being bought. So every time they've gapped it down right into this 600 area, then this is one where I think you got to be, kind of almost willing to step in a little bit and be a buyer, right? So that's important as we're kind of watching that. So to me, I think there was a little bit of hesitancy in some of the sectors. Obviously, a banking sector. You look at the XLF, I think did well in general, didn't come all the way back up. But you look at something like maybe the KRE, which I think there's still a lot of problems with. And I think you're going to see, more problems. So maybe if you do get a nice rally out of this, I would take your profits a little bit sooner than later, right? Be a little bit more, a little quicker to roll your options and maybe a little quicker to take your profits off the table. Because I think at any point you could have a rug pull. Anything that comes out from either the big banks with credit, any kind of inflationary numbers, basically you could start to scare interest rates. So interest rates aren't moving this next time around. That's going to be March 18th. So we're not going to be budging right now. I think it's like a 97% probability we stay unchanged on those. So just to kind of come back to Market Chameleon and start to look for some ideas in this market, I usually will come right into the UOA. I blew this up a little bit bigger so I could see a little bit easier. Your energy was hot today. So again, I think you had a lot of volume, and I think that's warranted for when you start to think about what's going on in Iran. You basically, the Strait of Hormuz is closed. So is this going to cause a bigger problem? I know Japan was saying they have like 250 days of oil left. And if the straits are closed for any length of time, more than a month, they're going to have a major problem. So I think that's something to look at. Are we going to see, now again, I can just do this here real quick and go over to the chart on OptionsRobot and kind of show this as a gap up sell off that happened. I think that's why we're seeing some of that paper come in as bearish, because the gap ups were so big that we started to see the bearish paper come back in and say these shouldn't be that high. I can't say it's justified or not, whether you want to be at this level or not. I can't say I'm really a big bull on crude at the moment. You can go through some of the other names associated with it. XOM had the same type of candle. Chevron had the same type of candle. Devon Energy basically had the same type of candle. I mean, you can go down the list here, like a Halliburton, Schlumberger. Obviously, there's individual reasons why some may be doing better than others, but for the most part, they've all gapped up in relationship to what's going on in Iran, knowing that if the straits are closed and there's some of this production that's going to be shut down, this should be driving prices higher, right? This should be driving the price of crude higher, but we're kind of hanging tough on that. So it's probably a space I'm going to avoid jumping in on the top. Now, the same thing with like an ONDS. This is I believe this has a lot to do with the drones. So you could make the argument here that this, if you kind of zoom out on the chart, it's been doing very, very well. Maybe there's more room to run back to the upside if you think this is going to have a play in basically getting more business because of the drones. Now, you had a couple big names that were doing okay as well, like something like a RCAT. Maybe it was a little bit better. So I would probably use this high right here. I think we talked about this earlier today in one of our classes. So I would probably use this as a trade bot or an entry bot and say if I got above that high on Red Cat, so greater than, let me go back over here. It should have this defaulted at this point. So days, days, I want that days. Day, 1 day, there we go. And zooming in, I want to be on this day here. That is 1383. So let's say 14, right? I just wanted to get back above that area, stay and close above that area, and give myself a little bit of room to run. So I'd probably buy the 14 calls, and I'd probably go out. I'll give myself a little bit of time on this one as well. So let this thing start to play out. So I'll do that as a quick. So again, the power of what we do at OptionsRobot is the templating and giving you the ability to template without even having a position on. So I don't even have this in. It's basically set up for an entry bot up here. And then I can set up a couple of roles if I want to. So smaller name stock, I'll use this one right here. And what that will do is every $2, it will roll my options up. So something like that, it'll roll it up. If I pull back more than 30%, it'll stop me out. And again, by one click, I just put in 6 orders to basically roll me up and stop me out. So I have a template. You can't do that in any other platform. So that is that's a decent name in terms of that space. Again, I'm not going to be touching the oil at the moment. A lot of what came on today. Warner Brothers could be on the radar if you like that, if you think that's going to be a bigger play. I think Netflix could be a much bigger play. I don't see it on this list at the moment. But if we go back over here to Netflix, Netflix could be on your radar just because of how strong it's been. So if I type that in here real quick, Netflix, I think, again, zooming out, been a massive downtrend. I think we drew this at some point with you guys and saying that this could get a little uglier. But again, broken the downtrend, big volume starting to come in. This could be one you want to jump in as it breaks above that red line, which is the 100-day. That high there is 98.07. So let's set up an entry bot for that one. I want to say greater than 98. Oh, let's say 98. Let's say 15. And we'll create a share in there. I don't want to buy shares. Actually, I'll buy the options. Sorry about that. Remove that one. Buy shares. I'm going to go out. I'm going to give myself a little bit more time, maybe the 20 expiration, because I think this has plenty of room to run. I'll buy the 98s on this one. So 98s. And no, I won't do any more options. We'll just do this as quick and then create. Again, it's a $98 stock. I'm going to use a slightly larger. I'm going to do it by $3 on this one. So every $3, I'll roll up, similar to what we just did. Again, it's six different trades that went, or six different execution orders, potential for execution. So if it rolls up by 3, great. If I get stopped out by 30%, I'm stopped out. So this just gives that capability and builds it all into the system. So 2 clicks, I have basically a trade entry bot put in, and then basically 6 orders to basically work my way out in terms of management. Coming back over to, let's kind of walk through a couple of these other charts. I thought Nokia was very interesting today. So if I just go over the chart on that one real quick. And come on. So again, looking at the chart, I mean, you were able to break out today. This thing closed up near the highs, looked pretty strong. From a chart perspective, this is really starting to pick up pace. So I like the chart. It's cheap to play, so you could definitely jump into something like this. I mean, the options on this are like 50 cents. Oh, I'm going to go over here to options. Sorry, option chain. So option chains, if we look at options, I think they're 50, 60 cents. Let's see, this is 3.6, actually a little bit more than I thought. Nope, I'm on the wrong stock. That's why. Nokia. Must have clicked on another one. So let's go back over to Nokia. And the at the monies are dirt cheap. I think we gave ourselves a little bit more time. You can play the 8.5s here for 21 cents. You can go out to March 20th and play the 8.5 for 32 cents. So you probably want to give yourself a little time, let this thing continue to play out, let it continue to move in your favor on that one. Some of you may have noticed that I'm doing some work on here, and I'm just kind of clicking over right away. Like if I go to Newmont and highlighting, it automatically pops this OptionsRobot ticker up, or this kind of menu board up. All I did was download a OptionsRobot extension. So if any of you guys are customers of OptionsRobot, you can basically get this for free. This is just a free add-on. So you go to your Google Chrome store, and it basically just acts as an overlay. So anytime you're on this platform, it'll pop up. You can say, I want to trade this. So for example, if I wanted to trade in Newmont, let's just say I click on Newmont, and I want to use a trade idea from Market Chameleon. And again, I think this is awesome the way they go through this and give you probabilities, the historical win rates, and really break this down for theoretical versus your market price. So if you can get a better credit, let's say I want to buy or basically trade a bull put spread here. All I have to do is come in here, highlight that. It'll automatically pop with the trade. I can click trade the put spread, and it'll automatically populate into OptionsRobot. So you don't have to keep going, hunting and packing and trying to find it. You can set it up right in here. So if I wanted to do this one, again, depending on what broker you have, we are expanding our brokerages here in the next month. We should have pretty much all of them. I'm not sure if we're going to be able to get the interactive broker. So we are working on that one as well, but not sure if that's finalized because we are using a third party to kind of make the connectivity. But again, right click there, and then you can go and look for, you can set it up however you want, put a custom order in terms of what you want your fill to be, right? Obviously, you're going to be trying to get a credit here. So you can play around with that and really do a lot more with that. You can select, here's a credit iron condor. They're saying it's pretty high in terms of price. You can do the same thing. I want to come over here and trade the iron condor, or you can simulate it. Say I want to go mess around with simulations from that perspective and put it right in from an order. So again, I got a little bit higher from where that was. That may have been earlier in the day, but maybe from the market perspective, that's you hitting the bid there and getting 549. So that's pretty good. If they're saying there's good theoretical edge on that one. So that's just in Newmont. I don't know if I would do an iron condor in Newmont personally, because if you go over to the chart in that one, let's just do that real quick. Newmont pulled back today, obviously with oil. I'm sorry, with gold. I apologize, with gold. But I think if gold can get going at all, this really could be a pop. Yeah, it's pretty high. Your ATR is a little bit higher. Your implied volatility is a little bit higher. So this could be one. If you really think gold's going to sit here in that range, then there's definitely opportunity. Clearly, you're getting good edge, right? When you look at that from what Market Chameleon was showing you on that one. So just to come back through a couple of these other ones, there were a couple more that stood out to me. I think it may have been on the second page here. NCLH, I'd be cautious with those. CCL, RCL, NCLH, the airlines took a little bit of a hit here as well. So I'd be very cautious on those. There's Red Cat in there with paper. GLW was interesting, right? And if you look over at the chart on that one, and I think when you start to see like, okay, potential here from a retest that pulled back, good volume, I'd like to see this basically take out the highs. Maybe that's something you set an alert on, something around that area right in there. Oh, didn't take. So if I say right in there, I think I can do it this way. So if I start to take out that high, that could be one you set up as an entry bot as well. So, I mean, plenty of opportunity here in this market with the reversal. Now, this is one I would definitely keep on my radar as well. So this is UAMY. This had a pretty good day today. Rallied up very strong, right? Taking out a lot of action in here. So UAMY, a lot of talk about getting a bigger government contract. Again, from a chart perspective, it's kind of still, I would say, downtrend, making at this point lower high. So we really need to kind of see it back up through there. That's a big move though, right? That's 1044 to like over 12 or almost 12. High there is 1197. So maybe you want to play it through today's high and play for that. If that level, again, that's a good move. Options aren't that bad on it. So if I go over to explore the options, I can see they are for 10.50, 75 cents for the very near term. If I go out to maybe March 20s, probably gonna be like what, $1.50. I scrolled off of it. $1.40 on the offer, so pretty close, right? And 130, offered at 140, so that's not too bad for giving yourselves 28 days at this point to 28 days. No, I think it's 20 days, isn't it? Which expiration I'm on? Yeah, 20 days to expiration on that one. So, I definitely think there's a lot of potential in that one. You could also look at something like a critical metals, CRML. That didn't have quite as good of a day, hasn't had quite of a run, but maybe if you think that's going to get engaged here, starts to take out some of these other moving averages, maybe that's one a little bit cheaper that you could play in terms of that space. So I know we're getting some questions, or we typically get some questions right now. We never get to the end, but any questions you have, Will, that you want me to answer?
Yeah, we had one that was left from this morning, Alcoa, AA.
So AA is one, I think, from a copper perspective, we actually have this set up and ready to go in one of our services. And, this is one that's poised to really go, but it's not quite there yet, right? Just not, if I were to zoom in on this a little bit more, kind of get rid of, let's see if we can get rid of the volume for you. So it makes it a little bit bigger. Let's see if I can auto that, make that a little bit, there we go. So, when you look at the levels in here, so, this, I would almost call it a cup and handle, maybe a complex cup and handle. But, cup and handles are typically when stocks are really beaten down. This isn't really beaten down, right? But if you look back in history, you could say, holy crap, man, this thing has been really beaten down and now already made a good run. So depending on your viewpoint, you may say this is overbought. I see this area as a great retesting area, like it's poised for breakout. And if you think about your copper, it's in tremendous demand, and I do think you're going to have a much bigger breakout, especially as if you look at like platinum and palladium, like PPLT, right? You look at that starting to go. You look at platinum, which I think is PALL for the ETF. That's that one. So I think if they can start to get a little bit of a push back to the upside and copper starts to go with it, I think Alcoa would be on the radar. I think FCX would be on the radar. I think Southern Copper would be on the radar. I mean, you can see Southern Copper probably looks the best out of all of them. It's a little pricier, right, in terms of that. But I would say Alcoa, in terms of the potential, you can see the chart that you are like kind of butting your head up against this area. Maybe you want to use something like that highest close over there. If I were to kind of draw that in, right, you can see the close over in here. We didn't touch it in here. We did start to touch it here, and we just missed it today. So maybe that's a good level. Or if you really want to wait for the bigger breakout, play the high there. That's, what is that? Sorry, I moved off of it. That is 66.95 on that one. I think I can zoom in a little bit more that way. So yeah, 66.95. So that could definitely be interesting. You're kind of, you're right there. You're 64.08 on the close. That's not bad. So I don't mind waiting, but I don't mind jumping in a little bit earlier. That flat line I just put in there was 65.65. So again, depending on how long you want to wait, but I definitely like it. I'd probably use like a 3 or maybe even like a 2.5 roll. So every couple of bucks, you try to get a good roll in, just so you're ready and set up if it is going to kind of get a breakout for you.
All right, the first symbol that's coming live to us in the chat is CCJ, Cat John.
This is Camco. So I used to trade this on the floor way back when. This was a pretty good trader. And it's gotten even, better. I mean, I would say you look at, I mean, not granted, it's now $125 stock. It used to be a $50 stock back here. So it's had a really good run. Now, I think this is really comes back to, this is a uranium play. So I think when you are looking at that, you may want to do a little bit more of a deep dive. Is uranium actually moving? Is uranium going to be more important here now that maybe crude's a little bit higher? Is there a play there? I think you want to probably keep an eye on some of the nat gas plays as well. I would also keep an eye on some of these beaten down names like an Oklo, NNE, or SMR. Right, they're kind of a little bit more beaten down. So CCGA definitely is, out there and having a great day today. So if you zoomed in on that and, kind of wanted to give yourself, let's see if I can kind of get a little bit closer here and build this up for you a little bit more so you can kind of see the chart a little bit better. So to me, resistance areas kind of comes in at these highs, maybe the open, a couple of highs there though. So that's about 128.06. Probably play the swing high there, 130. Low, the close up there and the open, or the both those closes, that's about 133 and change, 137, 133.70, something like that, 80 right in there. So that's a pretty good run if you can get that going. Then the problem is you're getting up to the highs, right? You're getting back up to that high and you need the breakout to follow through. Otherwise, it would look like a double top and they probably come back down and retest the area. So hopefully you can get the good run, but I would definitely keep an eye. Maybe you want to keep an eye on something like the URA. This is $125 in terms of trading. The URA is only $56. So you could get similar type of action. Maybe you want to watch the amount of ATR, compare your option prices to the movement. So just to give you an example, what I'm talking about right now, we're looking at 259 on here, and CCJ is $6. So 259 versus $6. If I go look at my options, I want to see what I can get bang for buck wise. So for $6 in CCJ, I'm spending $4.60 to get an at the money option. For the URA, it's only moving 250, but I can get my option for $1.65. So maybe a little bit cheaper to be able to play URA from a dollars to movement basis. So that's kind of one way I would look at that.
Perfect. Next is Meta.
Meta had a good reversal today. And if I look at that on the chart, we can take a peek at this chart. There we go. Come on. So Meta on the chart, great reversal. Again, kind of mimicking what they've been able to do in the Qs. They've been able to put together a lot of buying regardless if they gap down or not. So they've been net buyers here, but it has not really broken out. So for me, I'd probably want to wait for maybe a breakout. Maybe it's the 100-day, that red line in there. Maybe it's a swing high here or here. Any one of those can be used, and you'd want to play for probably maybe the swing high over here. That's 677. Then the 200-day is 691. So you got plenty of room to run if they can really get this market going. And they've been using the aggregated big names here as a way to kind of, I would say, hold this market in check. So using your Apple, your Amazon, your Google, though Google was down today. Use Microsoft today. That was up pretty strong today. NVIDIA was up strong. I don't think it was Amazon up. Amazon did not get up, was down $1.61, but Google was down 5. Tesla was up, NVIDIA was up. So trying to use those big weighted names to really get the market going. And I'll give you one last name that I'll suggest, and then we can answer any other questions. But PANW, we saw this space start to percolate. This is the cybersecurity. So PANW was interesting. Crowd had some positive news today. So this is the reason the colors in the background is a big Fibonacci. But that looks very interesting against these highs right in here. You could also keep an eye on something like Zscaler, kind of beaten down post earnings, and Cloudflare had a really good day today. So that's got the 200, then the 50-day, the 200, and the 100 after that into the swing highs, so they can really get that moving. So a couple of names there. Any other names you have you want to look at?
Yep. Affirm, AFRM.
So AFRM, I've been somewhat bearish on, and I think the main reason has been the private credit. And I think this could come under some scrutiny here pretty quickly. So I would definitely be careful with this one on the downside. This really could fall apart. I would also keep an eye on Klarna, KLAR. We had actually, I think I saw some paper in that on Market Chameleon to the downside. So that one could be very interesting. It starts to take out lows. American Express has been under fire. So American Express had somewhat of a recovery day today, along with Capital One, right? So both of these have had okay charts. I would say American Express looks a little bit weaker. Visa and MasterCard are still hanging tough. So both of them had decent candles today where they basically rallied up, looked pretty bullish. But American Express, Capital One, and I would put Affirm right in there as on the weaker side because you never really got that recovery candle, right? So you never really had that one where you're actually showing some type of rally to the upside. So if you're bullish on it, trying to capture the bottom, I would wait a little bit, give yourself some time to make sure you get above here. That's going to build the confidence in order to be able to stay in this trade a little bit longer.
Yeah, he was looking at if you had any ideas or what you would look at from a bullish standpoint. Are there any bullish or bearish spread you would look at? Is what he's.
Oh, so bearish spread. So yeah, I mean, I could see on the bear side. I mean, what I typically will do is look to where I think it's going to go to. If there's bigger levels and gaps, so how big do I want to be in terms of either like selling a call spread or buying a put spread? And this one's relatively cheap, so you could probably do a naked long put. So I don't mind trading this. You do have a small gap. It looks like to fill down here. Looks like some support down there around 41, maybe a little bit more around those lows. That's going to be around 39. So if we do continue to fall here, maybe use the low of the day, take that out, and then play for a couple of those levels. I don't think the options are bad. If you want to sell a call spread, I'd probably try to sell something over maybe the swing high there. That high there is 50. So if you want to sell something, a call spread, and try to just play the capture game, capture some premium, then I probably sell if I can get something in there. Let's just look at the options, see how they look. And typically when I'm doing my credit spreads, I'm going out probably usually around a week. So that's where I feel comfortable. So above 50, is there enough juice? So you could sell the 50s. 50, 55s is about 70 cents. You could do the 51, 56 for about 50 cents. So you got to kind of pick your poison there and make sure you have at least a spot. So what I typically do with my credit spreads is I pick a spot like a swing high. If it takes that out, I get out of my credit spread because it's just going to continue to move against you. So I don't know if there's enough juice there for me. Typically I need a little bit more than that. I usually try to capture $1 if I can get it above some critical level, and it's just maybe a little bit too tight. So maybe I would go with at this point, a naked put. So if you're trying to play a put to the downside, maybe spend the $1.73 to say, or maybe work mid-market or something like that, or a put spread to say I can buy something a little bit cheaper. What do we trade? We're trading 46. So let's say even like a 45, 40 spread. It's not too bad, right? It's $5. And that puts you back down into that range that we saw on the chart back over here, puts you back down into the 40 area. So you could try to capture most of that.
All right, and the last symbol of the day, we're right up against the hour, but Jim's asking, and so I want to give it out there. Hopefully you can do it.
Yeah.
It's OUST.
Ouster. So Ouster, I like. The chart looks good. I would have been a little bit concerned with this morning, given that it was looking like crap down here with a red candle, right? So gap down, but they did a great job of recovery and made it a bullish engulfing candle. So I definitely like the trade. If you're not in it, I would look for tomorrow, maybe taking out the highs, probably play for maybe the close over here, marries up with a high over there. So that close on that day is about 2030, the high, and then the 50-day. And then I would look towards something like that area, 2302 as a next level up on that one. So yeah, just real quick though, Will, at the end here. So we are still having the special for you guys. I believe it's 2 free months versus a normal 14-day trial. So you can come in and try it out for 2 free months. That symbol is start 2026 MC, Market Chameleon. So start 2026 MC. So is the code. So anybody wants to come try it, you can use the right click. I'll get you set up with that. It's OptionsRobot EXT in the Chrome store. So it allows us to connect right to most of those. So you're not constantly typing all those trades in. You can go and look at it on OptionsRobot as well.
All right, perfect. Everyone take Ryan up on that offer. Everyone have a great trading day. We'll see you next Monday, Ryan. Thanks for the offer to the Chameleon community.
Sounds good. Thank you.
The
Have a good night.
going crazy out back. All right, bye, buddy. Hey, everyone. Thanks for joining another Market Chameleon webinar series. I'm sorry, the dogs are going absolutely nuts out there. Everyone have a safe trading day tomorrow and a great evening tonight. We will see you tomorrow for our morning show at 9 a.m. Everyone have a great day.